And nowadays, if you don't know where your food's coming from, it could be messed with. There is this problem, food in places where it's rotting on the trees, and then there's a need for food in places where food is getting too expensive. Too many times in crypto, people come into it with dollar signs in their eyes.
As if we had the money in the bank. We sat together to determine the brand. We started working on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first of many Farmsent podcasts. And we have the lovely Yog here, who is the founder of Farmsent. And my name is Sim. I'm one of Yog's friends and an advisor and effectively a co-founder on Farmsent these days. So welcome, Yog.
Thank you so much, sir.
Hi,
It's
hi.
so
Yeah, a lot
lovely
of everybody
seeing
call me
you with.
sir.
It's so lovely to see you, and most importantly, the place you are in right now. I'm so jealous
Thank you.
while I'm
Yeah,
struggling at home.
we're actually in the farm today. So I in the spirit of living your mission, I've moved out to the farm, and I've been here for a week, and I'll be spending at least 3 weeks to a month here, and spending some period of time at the farm because you have to experience the life itself, and it's actually very eye opening to be amongst our fellow brethren and sisters who are actually on the ground making the magic happen, right? And it's beautiful.
You're
Like
truly living the system.
exactly. Off grid.
Very
I love
beautiful.
it. So now what I would love to start off with is the history of FarmScent, because I think we talk a lot about kind of where we are and how things have developed, but I really want to know the story. Like, what happened, man? How did you go from a just an Indian boy to solving the farmers' problems?
This is very interesting. Actually, this story, like the more I say, the more I feel good about the story because I mean, somewhere all Indians or Southeast Asian in generally, right? They are somewhere connected to farmers
Hmm.
because we have seen them closely, right? But we moved on and started doing other things. Like I jumped into IT and technology, marketing, started my company in 2006 in Bahrain. And around 2010, I met this wonderful, my partner, Salah. Salah is actually a movie director, right? So I met him when he was raising funds for his Turkish movie, right? And by the way, he doesn't know Turkish at all, but he wanted to do a movie in Turkish language, right?
That's great.
So, I instantly like the guy. I'm like, this is the guy where I see something of myself in him, right? Like, dare to jump and just do. So, but our involvement was about, being just friends, right? Occasionally, I would just jump in and attend his events, you know, make some connection in where he can showcase something, and it was like that. He came up with this wonderful tool, Beanboat, this brand, right? Beanboat is a marketplace which is taking coffee from Colombian farmers and giving it to MENA region buyers, wholesalers, coffee shops. So I thought like this is a great opportunity for this guy to come from a different background altogether and doing something for farmers. But the more I looked at that, it was going towards being a charity kind of an organization. There was a feel of a charity,
Hmm.
right? And when he involved me, I was like, "Are you sure you are doing this way?" Because scalability is going to be an issue with a charity organization, right? People wouldn't take the brand so seriously. Slowly and slowly, Salah made this very commercial, right? Where it become from a charity kind of a setup to a social enterprise, proper social enterprise, where he kept a cap on how much he can charge in center, and he was actually passing on a lot of value to these farmers. But when we talk about farmers, these were like few villages. It wasn't like a big setup. But When I looked into more of their export ability, it was like, 50 tons of coffee, 60 tons of coffee, 80 tons of coffee. I'm like, there is something this guy is doing. While I was busy in doing layer one and learning more about being involved in blockchain solutions and stuff. One day I called up Salah and said, I have a plan. Okay. Now, Salah didn't know that I have actually worked out complete dynamic about how Farmsent or the next version of Beanboard should function, right? So I called him home here and took the pen and paper, my usual thing, explain him why this should be a decentralized marketplace, why transparency should be the key component of this, and why scalability is important, and why we shouldn't be focusing on one SKU called coffee, and we should focus on a larger, you know, um, bunch of SKUs, hundreds of SKUs actually, and make entire world consume this. He isn't asking any question. He is consuming like, what the hell has happened? He's just like, okay, okay, you thought out this, you know. I said, yeah, I have thought out this, and I'm showing him in chart in this. Now Salah, by that time, Salah knew a little bit about MetaMask, how to use it, right? I was surprised that he could easily figure out everything I was talking about blockchain, how the data will be stored, and everything. What are the smart contracts stuff? Everything he was figuring it out. So he says, "Give me a day. Let me think about it." Okay. So I went to drop him in car, you know, and then the next day he says, "Let's do it, man. What do you have?" You know. So
I love
that's
it.
where we said, what I have is nothing. We need to figure out a name, the brand." That's where we started because there was nothing, and then Farmsent came from the from a similarity synonymous God sent, and we felt that everything was sent by the farmer and farm, so let's call it Farmsent.
Amazing. So it actually started out as a vision of charity. I didn't know that it actually started out as a charity mission, but obviously, if you really want to create impact in the world, you can't just do charity. You need to make it a sustainable model. And so it
Yeah,
transitioned into a sustainable model just for coffee. But then the natural progression is let's do more SKUs, let's do more goods, but then also bring it to the blockchain to make it more efficient.
yeah. The charity vision was vision of Salah.
Hmm.
He was hell bent to make this as a proper system to help farmer. Okay, I used to even call him Caveman, like because he was spending time in the caves literally, right? And interestingly, when he said like, "Hey, we need to open the company and all," I said, like, "Why are you searching for anything? Just name it Caveman," and that's where our Caveman trading started, right?
Yeah,
and and then I become like one advisor in this setup. Wasn't like you know how you started as an advisor, but you end up doing more thing for Farmcent than being an advisor, right? So I was just like an advisor and looking at very few things. My involvement was very low, but whenever these events would happen where we are selling coffee and proudly selling coffee that belongs to the farmer, and we would go, I didn't know anything about coffee and I still don't know much about coffee, so I would just go and stand next to these guys while Salah is preparing coffee and actually giving. Salah was the guy who was doing in and out everything. So I looked at like, look at this guy who's just not my friend, but he's putting so much of effort to make things happen, right? So somewhere down the line, I started thinking about how to optimize his business, right? But without telling him. But this day came and started just went all out and explained him everything. And yeah,
Well,
we
I
had
love
zero
that part.
funding.
I love that part. That
We had
it's a,
zero
that
funding.
it's yeah.
We had zero funding, zero support. We didn't know what to do next, right? But Salah didn't ask any question. He just said like, let's do, okay. And as if we had the money in the bank, we sat together to determine the brand, what are going to be our target market, and we started working on it. And and then of course I asked you your help in pretty much in everything. And you also, I think you joined in a session just like in a few minutes, and you said like, your usual amazing man, let's do it, you know.
For me, the moment I was introduced to FarmSent as a concept, it right away resonated with me because I knew there was something there that resonated deep with my heart. Then once I got to know you, got to know Cleveland, got to know the team, I was like, okay, these are the people I want in my life. And then I remember there was a call that we jumped on with the team, and I was sitting there listening, and you were explaining what FarmSent is, and my whole body got tingles. Like my whole
I
body said,
remember the call.
my cells said yes. And I listened to that kind of stuff where there's just the farmer from India, the boy from India who was from the farm, woke up and went, yeah, this, we dedicate our life to this. And then after that, everything just click, click, click happens, right? But I love the fact that all of us come into this with just a deep passion for making it happen. Money came as a result, but the passion and the dedication and these amazingly capable people came together to be like, let's go do this. We'll figure it out along the way.
I remember when I was speaking initially, and you said one sentence which actually resonated with me. I said like, this is the person who's going really like walking with us. You said like, our KPI is, children's fed. And I'm like, did I tell him this? Because that was my KPI, you know? So, and I'm like, what happened? Like, I never spoke this. I only told Salah that this is my KPI. And Salah is a very, like, unless you ask him, he wouldn't say much. So there is no way Salah has spoken to Sim. And Sim is saying, this is my KPI. And then I'm like, that's it. And we are doing it because it's the same mindset we have. And yeah,
Yeah, that's all it takes, right? It's like the universe has ideas floating in the ether, and then different souls pick it up in different areas, right? And of course, man, we remember the times. Like I remember the time when I used to run and dive into the rice paddies. In India, we would take the cow dung, the cow shit, and we would pile it on the behind the tractors on the trolleys, take it out to the rice paddy, put it in, and then they would take a tractor to mix it all up. Right when it's all
mhm.
nice and mixed, I would stand on the side and I would swan dive into it. It was my favorite thing to do, and I looked
It's
forward
very
to this
spongy,
evening.
isn't it? It's very
It's
spongy.
so good.
You don't.
It's so good, and you don't sink, and you can kind of like you can lay on top if you want, right? People think that's
Yeah, yeah,
gross, but it's one of the reasons why my immune system's so good. But I remember
yeah,
those
yeah,
days, and I remember being that kid on the ground. And today, to be able to turn around and say we have the capacity to be able to feed those kids, fantastic. It's
yeah.
definitely worth
But
doing.
and also what I felt nice is that particularly you and various other guys who are part of the ecosystem, they didn't need to do this, right? But they're remembering their past and they're saying, we have observed so much, we understand their plight of the farmers, right? If we don't do, then who will do,
Yep.
right? And so there is a tiny little sacrifice of their time from this. thing they are doing, and they probably would be passionate about something else as well, especially when you are successful. It is, you are evaluating this or that, right? And you are dividing your time. So that inspired me a lot, that people who thought that this is important to give time. Like, we spoke hours and hours strategizing things, the more I saw time coming from you, the more I felt inspired that we are going in the right path. Because why would a person like Sim come and give his time? Okay, we are not parting, we are not bringing so much of money to the game. But why would he come and say, like, yeah, let's do it, let's, how many hours you need? 4 hours, let's talk, let's do this, so that is one of the reason why I felt that we are going in the right track. Because while people would always feel that we figured this out from the beginning, but it is always a case of self doubt sipping in occasionally, and then you overcome this, right? So you always require that signal to overcome. That that strength comes from people like you, to say, I want to give time. And when you say you want to give time, you connect the dot, saying, if such an important person is giving you time, that means what you're doing is very important, so just go ahead, do it, you know
Yeah, I appreciate you calling me such an important person, but I'm just a guy. For me personally, I just saw the energy of the team. I love spending time with you. I love spending time with every person who's involved, because a point that you just made is really important to me. That too many times in crypto, people come into it from a place of money, with dollar signs in their eyes, right? Money is the first reason, and the system is built in a way where investors come in and somebody takes their money, right? That's how most of crypto has existed. Whereas with us, we looked at a problem in the real world that's not even a crypto problem. It's just food needs to reach tables. Started solving it. Salah started solving it. Came at it from a charity perspective, then turned it into a business. And then the best solution to that problem was, yes, we're using blockchain to do it. But all of it is the antithesis of what crypto has been, which is, it's not about the money. It's about the dedication. It's about the passion. It's about the children fed. It's about the real
Mm.
things. And the money follows. They say money follows those who chase their purpose, and those who chase money have no purpose,
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I think this, you put it very nicely. Um, it's like, for me, it's like an outcome, um, and it'll happen anyway. What you need is, while you are building things, you need this exchange medium to survive, right? More than that, yeah. But my Harley Davidsons are excluded from these things. I still like to keep my bikes. But other than that, the needs are very less. The needs are not that much. So that is why it's important that you build something which actually creates an impact in the society, you know, and then hope that that actually snowballs into something magnificent, while you are still putting effort to make that snowballing effect happen. So
Exactly. So actually, what I would love to do at this point is, I know we're very familiar with these things, and a lot of the people that are listening will be familiar. But I would love to just give a description of how we're solving that problem, because I think there's going to be a lot of new people watching. So let's look at, okay, there is this problem. There's food in places where it's rotting on the trees, and then there's a need for food in places where food is getting too expensive. So, like, what specifically are we doing with Farmsent that's actually solving that problem?
why we keep saying that it is a farmer's economy, right? Because we have our vision divided into a phase of execution, right? The first phase of execution is, which is our lowest hanging fruit, is remove not remove, actually optimize the middleman. That means there is a group of farmer want to sell and fetch better price, and there is a consumer wants to buy but wants better price, right? In between these consumer and farmer, there are just too many middlemen. Agent 1 gives to agent 2, agent 2 stores gives to agent 3. There are just too many middlemen. So farmer doesn't have control over how much he should sell. Buyer doesn't have control of how much he should buy. So who made these things look so tentative? It's the center. It's the
Mm.
broken supply chain, right? So our lowest hanging fruit was, let's optimize this. If we optimize the center and give the power in the hand of consumer and the farmer, then we are creating some sort of a balance between the demand and supply. So the farmer who's selling a coffee which is $1, and the buyer who's buying in $2-3, he knows why he's paying $2-3. So he knows that he's paying $1 for farmer, half a dollar for supply chain, quarter dollar for packaging, something for tax or duty or whatever we call. Whatever happens, the consumer is aware that he's not being looted here, and the farmer is aware that he's not taken advantage of. Is the simple proposition, right? So if you make the center transparent, what also happens is that you bring in new players. Let's take an example that Sim is the supply chain guy, you know, and Sim is charging $1 to ship the product from Indonesia to Dubai, right? And Vlad comes in and says, I can do that in half a dollar actually. Then obviously the contract will be won by Vlad, right? So if we make transparent, then only the participation of these elements will come. These individuals who are in center, they will come. Right now, the demand and right now the supply chain is so broken. Farmer knows I'm selling it in $1. Consumer knows that he's buying at $10, but no one knows why.
Yep.
And that is our first phase to fix it. Fix the center by optimizing and by being transparent.
Yeah. So just to reiterate it, we made an app, and in that app, the farmer can list their supply, and the consumer can know what they're buying and buy directly from the farmer. Now, there's still going to be a middleman involved making sure he picks it up from the farmer and ships it off, but it's going to be the most efficient middleman, not 15 of them just, taking money along the way. Now, what this also
Absolutely.
reminded me of is like, this reminds me of, back in the day, if I wanted, let's say, something that was made in China, right? I would have to go to a store and buy it for three, four, five, sometimes 10 times the price of the cost, right? I had no way of buying it from China. And then Alibaba comes along and goes, here's an app, talk to the guy directly in China, buy it for the price that's right? There's still somebody
Yeah.
picking it up and delivering it. There's a whole supply chain that happened. But now, instead of, me going to Best Buy or me going to Walmart and paying five times the price because I don't know where to get it, the one app simplified my ability to be able to access stuff. So on the consumer side, it was amazing, right? On the supplier
Yeah.
side, that supplier was beholden to Walmart. So Walmart would say, do this, do that. They would basically threaten them into giving them special contracts and make sure that they stay poor while Walmart makes all the money. So
Mhm.
now the producer has the ability to access consumers directly and have more growth in their actual business. So we're doing the same thing for
Absolutely.
the for farmers.
And thus, and some of the output from these transactions is that the consumer is aware. Like in India we have family farmers. The
Yeah.
concept is dying, right? But if you ask your grandparent, they will be saying you are buying from one family that product. They had family farmers. They will not
Yeah.
buy from everyone, right? We are modernizing the family farmer concept by creating education around it. Now the consumer is aware from where he is buying, which exact farmer is growing it, in what condition he is growing it, where is the certification, how it was, how the supply chain was handled, how the storage is handled, right? What are the processes for packing? All these aspects which the consumer would leave it to the retail guy, the Walmarts of the world. Now the consumer is going extra mile to understand it and
Hmm.
appreciate how food is actually grown. So that creates also awareness in the society that the farmer which is putting so much of effort need to be recognized, and that is also important output of Farmsent's first phase, that farmers need to be recognized.
But that's great. That reminds me of India, man, where it's like, make sure you go get milk from XYZ. Make sure you go get lentils from XYZ.
Absolutely.
Right? It's like like
Absolutely.
this uncle has the
And if
things,
you
and
go
then
and
yeah,
bring from someone else,
yeah,
and if you go and bring from someone else, you'll get scolding at home.
of
Hey,
course.
from where did you get? Did you bring from that guy? You know.
And it actually it
So the
feels
same
good. It
concept.
feels good to know that the stuff you're consuming, you're aware where it's coming from, right? Because in nowadays, if you don't know where your food's coming from, it could be messed with. It could be, it might be good at one point, and then it might be something that's toxic and sprayed with stuff at another time. So knowing exactly where your food's coming from, exactly what's reaching your kid's mouth, that's huge.
I'll give a very nice example of this. Okay, and it happened to me in Indonesia. I was visiting our partner's coffee plantation in near Bandung in
Mhm.
um, Rahyang Coffee. Okay, there is this old farmer, and he all the guys they cooked something for me. I wanted some Indonesian chilies, to make it spicier, and so he said like I'll get the chili for you. I said I'm coming with you. I also want to see the chili plants and how they're being grown. And we are walking down from the literally from the hill, coffee plantation hill to down,
Yeah,
and then we reached to this chili plantation isolated area, you know, literally barricade and this. So I said like, okay, this is interesting. So I asked him, so you walk all the way down to make this chili? So he said like, no, you cannot keep chili next to the coffee plant. They
hmm.
influence the taste. So I said, okay, imagine the care a farmer is taking to bring you that cup of coffee. If I wasn't there, would I be aware of that? Imagine
Yes.
how many times he has walked down so that you get your better cup of coffee. Shouldn't that be appreciated? You know.
Yeah, that's
So
love.
and this
That's
is
love. I want love in
that's
my coffee. Yeah, that's great.
absolutely. So the more we let the consumer be aware of farmer, the more we are creating awareness of what they are putting in their body,
Hmm.
and the more we are going against that so-called packaged food industry, which is actually creating a lot of issues, right? And that is why, so Salah actually knowingly unknowingly started that in Beanboat by having the coffee bag and then giving a booklet which is explaining the life story of the farmer.
Yeah.
Like for example, Uncle Hector, uh, how his life is, how he's growing coffee, and all those kind of things. and and kids were actually collecting these small booklets. They were keeping
He's
it,
a
you know,
he's a
in
hero.
one
Now
of the
now
event.
Uncle Hector is a
Yeah,
collectible hero. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So now, he will come into the NFT, and so we are creating a lot of things with him. But these are the things people appreciate, right? And when people appreciate, you want to repeat that. You want to bring the good things from that system to the existing system, right? And yeah, that also reminds me that we are creating one stamp which is going to be NFC oriented, so that consumer now can pick up the packet and tap on that NFC which is stuck into the packet, and get to know who's the farmer, what is his story, get to know what is the specification of this product, certification, all those kind of things. So now we are hoping that there will be a emotional connection which you spoke about in your family, how they would ask, bring milk from there, bring oil from that person. Hopefully in future there will be a bond between this farmer and consumer. And who knows, in second phase, if we can go a couple of steps more and create a communication medium for these farmers and consumers to talk to each other, because the care they're taking. You said cow dung, right? And you said like how farmers in India were very organic oriented, like what they're putting, right? They could have easily increased the production by putting anything, and could match to any of the so-called big farmers we're talking about. But instead they'll say like, no, that's not good for health, not going to put that,
Hmm.
right? Now when I'm consuming, I will be now appreciating that farmer. Thank you for not putting bad things in our food,
Exactly.
you know.
Yeah.
So this is
And
one
also
way, technical way, to bridge the gap.
and also, you know, a thought that comes up is today we're living in a world where food is a black box. I don't know how it reached my table. I don't know who made it. I don't know where it came from. I don't even know what it is. Most of the time, I don't know if it was cow dung, if it was fertilizer, if it was, it's a black box, right? Now we're basically showing people the quality of food that they're receiving, the history of food, the people that are behind it, the journey that it took, empowering people to then be able to make decisions around which food they want to choose and which food they want to eat. And when you have this kind of, story behind the food, and you're able to know that it's, this is coming from Uncle Hector's farm, and you like Uncle Hector's food, then you will go back and get Uncle Hector's food. But at the same time, an underappreciated part of the way that Farmsent is built is, right now a lot of the money ends up in the middlemen's pockets. In this new
Hmm.
system, that money will be directed towards building the infrastructure so Uncle Hector can live a better life and then get better quality food to the market. Right? This I saw in Colombia when we were on the ground. We're there. We're with Don Pedro again, another Uncle Hector, amazing guy. Beautiful energy,
Beautiful. So, yeah.
right? And we're talking to him about how, what has FarmSent done, and he said basically the fact that he's getting more money will allow him to build better roads and fund better roads, in his area. So literally everybody in the neighborhood can benefit, not just him, and then they can get better food to the market, which means better quality, goods for consumers and also better pricing for him. So it's like not
Absolutely.
only are we allowing the consumer to have more transparency and the farmers to be able to access better markets, we're then using that system to be able to provide a better infrastructure for the improvement of the earth, basically. And over time, this system loops in on itself because this money shouldn't just be going to people who are there for profit to keep everybody poor. This money should be shared in a way so all of society benefits.
Absolutely. And when you were visiting Colombia, and when you saw that thing in ground, you know that if the farmer is earning two times than what he's earning today, you know that he's creating a small economy there immediately because
Yep.
he's helping others. He's buying their stuff. He's making his lifestyle a little bit better. So the carpenter makes more money. The plumber makes more money. It's an economy by itself, right? And so that is why we are careful not removing the middlemen because they are part of our society as well, right? We are just channelizing their energy to do something in a way that they are contributing and not just being a middleman because they know someone,
Yep.
right? So someone can come in and do a packaging industry, for example. So another person can come in. Actually, a few days back, one of my Saudis friends said, like, I have the warehouse, you can use it, right? So I say, okay, do you have a zero oxygen, for example, kind of a facility? Like, oh, that's interesting. I can add that, right? So imagine everything we learn from different market, we are giving that to farmer because Farmsent is not going to build those. It's going to be too much for Farmsent to carry out all the task. So what Farmsent will say like, okay, you know what? We will be storing in your storage, but can you make the warehouse?
Yep.
So we are now creating small economies scattered around the world, and those are efficient economies which are in auto mode literally, right?
Hmm.
And that's what I'm very excited about.
And that's where the conversations we're having around IoT and sensors and tracking and all these things. To us, it's such a normal thing. But you incorporate that level of data to facilities that are being built that are efficient, that are part of this new supply chain, and it just makes the whole process so much more efficient because a farmer, a middleman, a warehouse person, they're not going to have access to those kind of things. So FarmSend is bringing this complex
Absolutely.
world of technology to people who do not need to know how to use it and making it simple and putting it in their hands. So we could go on about this forever, but I think let's have some closing thoughts because you and I we go on for hours and hours. So what I would love to hear is what's the vision looking like going forward? Where are we with FarmScent, and how can somebody who's listening to this participate?
So we don't talk too much about the token economy of farms. And yes, the tokens are launched and it's there in centralized exchange. People can buy and all those kind of things. Leave those aside. You know, in development, we are focused on making the B2B marketplace live. We are launching one NFT collection which will be tied down to bidding of products. And there is a lot of interesting things which I will reveal sometime. Um, we are having a lot of partnerships, and we've been lucky actually to have really strong partners. Polytrade, for example, is one of our partner who's building a asset tokenization marketplace, right? We partnered with Five Harvesto in. They are doing so much of great work. Sim is one of the co-founder, by the way, um, and they are based out of Indonesia. So there are a lot of partners coming while we are exploring a lot of markets. There is inroads in Saudi. There is a good request coming from Sri Lanka. So Zambia is on the works. We are getting good licenses. We have got the license in Dubai, Indonesia. We've got in Colombia. We set up everything properly. Now we are exploring Saudi license, which hopefully will work out. So a lot more farmers economy to set these farmers economy. We need to be compliant as well with the government and with the regulators. So that's going on. Vara in Dubai has been kind in communicating with us and understanding our model. It's a very complex and different kind of model, but they've been very nice. So hopefully we are expecting some good words from them. So all in all, Alpha should be ready by November, mid-November, and then we start shipping the product. Initially, it is going to be bit manual kind of things, where we are conducting things manually, understanding it, putting it on chain. It's going to be very manual. But later, it's going to be automatic. We are also having a keen eye on bringing artificial intelligence in finding the right product for the supplier, for the buyer, actually, the wholesaler, and then sort out the payment mechanism. Right now, the focus is about payment. How can we pay the farmer faster? Um, there is one person, a farmer who is selling avocado from Colombia to US, and he has 60 days credit, and he need to have two shipments every week. How he is going to manage this liquidity? So there has to be some trade financing and something. There has to be some payment mechanisms. These trade financing and all we are bringing on chain. So this is what we are working at the moment. So plate is full, but it's so interesting. A lot of people are supporting. Sim is on ground, is helping us like anything. So I'm so thankful, which I should say live, but in general, I'm really thankful to your participation in everything and how minutely you are looking after things.
It's beautiful, brother. Now we're getting the boots on the ground, and we're actually taking care of all those details that make this whole process so difficult for somebody else to do. Right? The tokens launched. The tech side of it's beautiful. I love how quickly we move on the tech side of things. We have such amazing resources, but it's the on the ground stuff and the partnerships and how they're solving a lot of these problems that are key core problems that I see day by day. Like every time we talk, it's another huge list of solutions, which leads to another huge list of problems, and then that's what we love waking up to. So thank you for putting your energy in.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad that we're on this mission, and thank you guys for listening and being part of this. We're going to be doing this more often, so definitely tune in. We're going to be bringing amazing souls to have these conversations and keep you posted on what's going on. So we appreciate your time, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you, much love, and
Thank you, guys.
stay amazing.
Thank you so much, guys. That was good.